It's my job and my absolute pleasure to introduce the speaker today. I've introduced him a number of times over the years, many times over the years. This, in fact, this drawing is the first time I introduced him. We were dressed in contemporary clothing. Some of you recognize it if you've taken the humanities sequence, if you know art history. This is a drawing that one of our students did, Scott Gaines from Cameron, Missouri. Scott did this drawing. It's a copy of a part of Raphael's The School at Athens. How many say I recognize that? How many said I could have gotten it in a multiple choice test? That's what matters. That's what matters. This was an imaginary gathering of philosophers, if you could imagine such an unholy thing. An imaginary gathering of philosophers. Bill is the philosopher Plato, and I'm as Aristotle. And Bill is pointing up and saying philosophically, the ceiling needs painting. And as an administrator and Aristotelian, I'm saying when the budget permits. For the past 20 years, I've had the pleasure of teaching in the Honors College Humanities sequence. If you were paying attention during lunch, you know that it's a great sequence, and lots of students have taken it over the years and have enjoyed it. It's a great books course, a great ideas course. It's a 4-semester sequence in Western humanities. It's fun for all of us. A special joy for me in the past 20 years has been the opportunity to teach alongside Professor Bondeson, the ancient philosopher. No, I didn't mean that. I mean the philosopher of the ancient world. In this sequence, we sit in on one another's lectures. We take turns introducing the lecturers to the students. One of the many nice traditions of the course. We show that we're friends, that we get along, that we work together, that we enjoy the same things in literature and art and philosophy and music. I always like introducing Bill. Bill is clearly one of the great monuments to teaching and learning at MU. A bit weathered and somewhat worse the wear. Not unlike the Parthenon or the Colosseum, but a monument to excellence nonetheless. Students always enjoy Bill's lectures. Faculty feel that if we're not attentive, we'll be accused of elder abuse. So we stay awake as best we can. Bill always begins his lectures by holding up one hand. What that means is the 5th commandment. Honor thy father and thy mother, and ancient philosophers wherever they are. When I introduce Bill, I often ask the students, and I'll ask you, how many of your parents had Bill Bondeson in class? Bill always looks around and he's quite flattered by that. He's real pleased by that connection. When I ask, how many of your grandparents had Bill as a teacher? He doesn't look around. In the humanities, every semester, we examine periods of high culture in the West, the so-called golden age of nations and empires, periods of high cultural attainment in literature, the arts, and the development of influential ideas. I am reminded that during Bill's tenure on this campus, MU has also experienced one of its many great periods of greatness defined by a somewhat different standard. You'll see what I mean, I hope. This is the Savitar from 1970. You'll notice the standard of excellence is that the football team went 9-1. We went to the Orange Bowl. It was our golden age. How did this happen? How did this occur? Well, the Savitar, the MU yearbook, offers kind of a standard analysis. It says something about the rise to prominence was due to the offense, or the defense, or the kicking game. And that may all have contributed. But I have a rival hypothesis to show you.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, my word.
It may not have been the offense or the defense. I think it was Professor Bondeson. Look at these photos. You have to realize how inspirational he was, but you also need to know that Bill wasn't always associated with football. Before coming to MU,
Where did you get that?
Bill had a somewhat distinguished career, although brief, as a French existentialist philosopher. Jean-Paul Bondeson.
Oh, God. Oh, merciful Lord.
But Bill's champion of the liberal arts helped the football team. The Savitar quotes Bill, who was director of the Honors College in 1970. And I think his salary was the same as the football coach's salary. Just took him many decades to earn that yearly salary. And Bill is quoted as saying, if a student can think critically, appeal to evidence, and use argument, if he has the tolerance to deal with systems or values other than his own, and the integrity to formulate and live by his own values, and most importantly, if he has learned how to learn, he can be called liberally educated. Much has changed over the years. Bill has learned to use feminine pronouns. But the liberal arts are still the cornerstone of what we do. I'm sure Bill's work inspired the 1969 football team. The man who has helped so many young men and women achieve the goals of a liberal education, a first-rate friend and a first-rate instructor. I give you Professor Bill Bondeson.
Oh, you were wonderful. Oh, my God. Oh, thank you so much. That's dynamite. Thank you all. My goodness, what a privilege. Oh, I'm overwhelmed. I'm literally overwhelmed. I want to thank you for coming. I'm honored to have you all here. I do want to point out that we have many services available. We have 3 members of the Chaplains Corps in the back room if you need spiritual help. We have virtually every medical specialty known to man up and down these halls, so any attack you might have we can take care of instantly. But I did want to add one thing. Where is mine? Oh, here it is. And this was not part of what I had to do, but I am not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. I am not making this up. I got this email this morning. It is from a student who was in my humanities section, and I had the group to my house yesterday, and they were to turn in their journals for the semester, and one of them, Mary Schultz, was unable to come. And no fooling, this came this morning at 5:59. Well, she's up early. That's all right. And here's what. Now, you need to know that there is a faculty abuse hotline. And every time faculty are abused, that's the appropriate line to call. And I suggest here is another example from my dear friend, where'd he go? Stu Palonsky. I'm reading this literally. Professor B, I went to your office around 1:10 today to drop off my journal, and I must just have missed you because the door was locked and nobody could tell me if they had seen you come in yet. I talked with Dr. Palonsky, and he speculated that you were waiting in line to try out for the Alfred Hitchcock look-alike contest. I'm not making this stuff up. This is what you get, for God's sake. These are colleagues? Where does that crazy idea come from? Great Lord in heaven above. But it really happened. Anyway, I'm appreciative of all this. I can't thank you all enough for coming. All I need is my table to sit on, which I use regularly, and then I start to talk, and that's what it is. I do have, since the chancellor is here, there is a university gift which I require, Brady. I want you to go and bronze an overhead projector. They are educational antiques. Only 2 or 3 of us, I think Tarko and Stu and I, maybe one of the people who use them. I'm sure they'll be on eBay within another year or so. I love them. They are gorgeous. Those transparencies never fail. I've changed a couple light bulbs in my day, but that's about it. I happen to think that PowerPoint is the work of the devil, but that's a talk for another time. Technology has always failed for me, and it always will. So I just love these little things. And I used to do a lot of lecturing in the humanities course, I still do with the overhead projector, but I used to put the transparencies on the projector, stand next to it, and talk and write at the same time. I don't do that anymore. Because one day in humanities, I was lecturing on the Stoics. Oh, Hawks, you're with me already. I know because you were there. And the Stoics are a fascinating group of people. They're Greek and Roman philosophers, and they've written some marvelous things. And among other things, among the Stoic beliefs one of the beliefs is that the universe is a giant, total living being. It's all a living being. And I'm writing in there, and I'm writing about the Stoics, and I wanted to put down that the Stoics believe that the universe is one giant organism. It gives new meaning to the Big Bang Theory, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, it's been a lovely time, and I'm grateful to so many of you for doing this. I don't know what you're supposed to do in a last lecture, and there are some of you I know who really think it should be the last one, and that's about all. Quit. Go home. Get out of here. You've done your duty. I keep talking. Until they cut my arms off, I'll probably keep on talking because I just do that. It's been a great career. I hate to think about it, but it really was 47 years ago when all this got started. I was talking to Linda, and I can remember, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, that when I first came down here, we thought Columbia, Missouri was so far away from the south side of Chicago, we booked a room in Springfield to rest halfway down. We thought we were going to the other end of civilization, for crying out loud. Where is this place? What can be going on down there? I also remember only too vividly coming through St. Louis, and Interstate 70 was not completed. You'd go on 40 for a while, you go on 70, you go back on 40, and all that. It took us forever to get here. And some people say they haven't completed it yet, but that's another talk for the highway department, George, and you can get after them.